Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Awesome. So today we're going to get super practical, like really hands-on with tools and strategies, especially for, nonprofits, smaller businesses, anybody really who wants to make a bigger impact.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're building an impact toolbox,
I
right?
love that analogy.
Yeah. And to guide us today, we're going to be looking at this Q&A with Clara Muttenhoods Strode. She is the founder of the MCS agency, which I love that name. And she's really all about using AI and just smart communication to help organizations really thrive. So
That's fantastic.
yeah. So get ready for some time-saving tips. We're going to be talking about some tech that won't break the bank because that's always good. But I think most importantly, we're going to be really focusing on how to turn those stories, like the everyday stories of your organization, into a real force for change.
I love it. And one thing that really jumped out at me when I was reading through Clara's work was this emphasis on storytelling.
Hmm.
We hear that a lot, but she really brings it home. It's not just about, data and metrics. It's about forging a connection.
Yes. And she actually calls storytelling a superpower for nonprofits, which I think is so cool. But I got to be honest, sometimes I struggle to find the time for it. Like it's another thing to add to the to-do list.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's where Claire's advice is really helpful because she suggests, you don't need to spend all day every day doing this. She suggests 5 to 7 hours a week dedicated to digital storytelling. Yeah. And that could be just like an hour a day. It's really not that bad.
Totally doable.
Yeah. And she emphasizes quality over quantity.
Mm.
So one really great story per week that can be so much more effective than, five kind of rushed ones.
That makes me feel so much better.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's manageable.
Absolutely.
But then how do you make those stories actually work, Like on social media, how do you make them stand out? There's so much noise.
There is. And that's, I think, where she really nails it when she talks about the three key elements to a good story. And she talks about a personal connection, strong visuals, and then a clear call to action.
Okay.
So, for example, instead of just saying, we helped 100 families this year, tell Maria's story,
Oh, I like that.
right? Tell the story about how your food bank helped her and her kids when she lost her job. And then you add a photo of your volunteers in action, and then you add a link to your donation page.
Oh, that is so good. Yeah, it's like you're painting a picture.
Exactly. And you're personalizing the impact.
Totally. And I can totally see how that would get people more involved too, because they connect with it on a personal level.
Absolutely. And the visuals are key.
Oh, yeah.
But I know a lot of people listening might be thinking, oh my gosh, graphics. I'm no designer.
Right. Totally. I used to be terrified of design, but I got to say, Canva, game changer, especially with their free resources for nonprofits, like that is amazing.
I love Canva. It's so easy to use. And what I really appreciate about it is it just kind of takes the guesswork out of design. And she gives some great tips too, like, stick to your organization's colors.
Keep it consistent.
Yeah. Choose one or two fonts. Don't go crazy with a million different fonts.
Keep it simple.
Keep the text minimal and use high quality photos. It doesn't have to be super complicated.
It's so true. It's so true. And you don't have to be a pro to make things that look really good.
Absolutely.
But then how do we know if any of this is working? Like, how do we know if people are actually paying attention? Like, I put the story out there, but
Right. And I think that's where those metrics come in, and it's really just kind of checking the pulse of your audience. Are people opening your emails? Are they clicking your links? Are they donating?
so we're talking about email open rates, social media engagement, website traffic, donations, all that.
Yeah, all of that. And what I think is really interesting is that she suggests tracking how these numbers change when you share different types of stories.
So you kind of get a sense of what's working.
Right. You see what resonates with your audience, and then you can adjust your strategy accordingly.
That is so smart. Data is our friend.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got these amazing stories. We're tracking the data. We're seeing it's working. What's not? Now what?
Now it's time to multiply your impact. And this is where she talks about repurposing those stories.
Oh, interesting.
So one story, that can become like 10 pieces of content. It could be social media posts. It could be quotes that you turn into graphics, short videos, infographics, things for your newsletter, blog posts, like the sky's the limit.
So you're saying I could take one story and like make 10 different things out of it?
Absolutely. And you just adapt the format and the length, but you keep that core message, that heart of the story, that stays the same.
Oh, that's good.
So you're tailoring it for different platforms and different audiences.
I like that, like tailoring an outfit for different occasions.
Ex-
Oh, that's a good analogy. Okay, so but then the tech world, right? Like that can be kind of overwhelming. Where do we even begin?
It can be. It can
Uh-huh.
be. And I think what's helpful is to think about having that solid foundation. And, she talks about this, like having a basic tech stack.
Okay.
And she suggests everybody needs email marketing, whether you're a big organization or a small organization. That's your bread and butter. So something like Constant Contact, MailChimp, you've probably heard of those.
Makes sense. What else?
And then, of course, you need a way to, store your files and work together, especially if you have a team. Google Workspace is a lifesaver.
Yeah, for sure.
And then for design, well, we've already talked about Canva. We love Canva. And then to manage your social media, Buffer is a great tool, especially if they have a free plan, which is fantastic.
Okay, so email, files, design, social media. Is there anything else that we absolutely need?
To keep your projects organized and on track, Asana is a must-have. Yeah, and for signing documents electronically, DocuSign is a lifesaver. And a lot of nonprofits even qualify for free licenses.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so that's like the bare minimum, but I'm guessing that's just the tip of the iceberg, right?
You're absolutely right, it is. And she dives into more specific tools for things like virtual events and donor management, remote teams, online donations, volunteer management, even grant writing. Like,
The list goes on and on.
it does. But I think maybe we should say that for after a quick break. What do you think?
Sounds good to me. We've covered a lot of ground already, so we'll be right back to delve deeper into those specialized tools and help you build that ultimate nonprofit tech toolkit.
Okay, so let's jump back into those specialized tools.
Yes. I'm really curious about, especially about tools for virtual events.
Yeah.
Because they become like so essential, I feel like.
Absolutely, they have. And Clara has some great recommendations for really, making those virtual events shine. And she suggests kind of this combo of Zoom, Eventbrite, and then Constant Contact.
Okay.
So, Zoom, of course, being the workhorse for, hosting the actual event itself.
Yeah.
Eventbrite makes registration and ticketing super easy. And then Constant Contact helps you with all those, event emails, reminders, keeping everybody in the loop.
So that's like the basics, right?
Yeah, that's like your foundation.
Okay, so then what if you want to like really up your game and make those live streams look, really professional?
Yes. Well, she suggests StreamYard for that.
Okay.
And it's a fantastic tool that really gives your live streams that polished professional look.
Cool.
And then for, handling payments smoothly, she recommends either PayPal or Stripe. Those are both, trusted, reliable options.
Perfect. So you can really put together a pretty awesome virtual event with those tools.
Absolutely, yeah.
But what about donor management? That seems like a whole other world.
It can be. But she actually, she suggests starting simple. So if you have less than 100 donors, a trustee spreadsheet can do the trick. Like Google Sheets, you can track basic info without getting bogged down in complex software.
So like don't overcomplicate it when you're first starting out.
Exactly.
But then of course as your organization grows, I imagine it gets a little bit trickier.
It does. And she actually recommends once you hit about 100 to 500 donors to upgrade to some sort of dedicated donor management software.
Okay, and what is donor management software, just so we're clear?
Yeah, so it's basically like a centralized system
Got it.
that helps you track, all your donor interactions. So donations, communications, maybe they attend events, you can keep track of all of that.
So it's all in one place.
All in one place, exactly. And she suggests either Little Green Light or Bloomerang for this stage. And those both have some really robust features specifically for nonprofits.
Oh, wow. So that's way more efficient than trying to do it all manually.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
But then I'm imagining for like even larger organizations.
Yeah, she actually recommends for organizations with over 500 donors, she recommends the Salesforce Nonprofit Success Pack or Donor Perfect.
Okay.
And these are kind of the heavy hitters. These are the industry-leading solutions that can handle those, really complex donor relationships. They can track every donation. You can manage communications, generate all sorts of insightful reports.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, so it's about, picking the right tool as you grow.
Scaling up.
Exactly.
Okay. This is making a lot more sense. So we've got virtual events, we've got donor management. What about working remotely? Because I feel like there's a million tools out there. And it's hard to know, like, what do we actually need?
Oh my gosh, yes, so many. And she actually has a fantastic remote work stack, she calls it, that keeps teams, connected and productive.
Oh, I like that.
And of course, we've already talked about Google Workspace. That's like essential.
Yep.
But for like quick team communication and that sense of camaraderie, Slack is a game changer. It's like having a virtual water cooler.
Yeah.
You can share updates, ask questions, celebrate wins.
It makes remote work sound fun, actually.
It does, yeah. And I think it helps with that, with that feeling of isolation that can sometimes come with working remotely.
Totally, totally. So then how about keeping projects on track? Because I imagine it could get a little chaotic with everybody in different locations.
It can. It can. And that's where either Asana or Trello come in.
Okay.
They're both excellent for project management.
Yeah.
And they let you create visual boards, lists, cards, track your progress, keep everybody on the same page.
That's key.
Yeah. And then, of course, you can't forget Zoom. That's essential for team meetings, webinars, even just like those virtual coffee chats.
Love it, love it. So
Yeah.
we've got communication, we've got project management. Anything else that we should be adding to our remote toolbox?
For creating quick video updates or explaining something, visually, Loom is fantastic.
Oh, cool.
It records your screen and yourself, so it's super easy to share information. And then to keep your passwords secure, LastPass is a lifesaver, especially when you get a team working remotely.
Okay.
You can share passwords securely without actually revealing the password.
Oh, that's good for security.
Yeah, it's a huge plus.
Okay, so that helps me get a handle on the remote work landscape a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
But now let's talk about online donations, because I feel like there are so many platforms out there. There
Yeah.
are, each with their own, fees and features and all that.
Right, and she breaks it down really nicely and gives you options for different needs and budgets.
Okay, good.
So if you're looking for something simple, no fee, PayPal Giving Fund is fantastic.
Okay.
It's easy to set up and, people can donate directly through your website or social media.
So that's a good, starting point.
It is. And then if you need something that integrates directly with your website, Stripe is a popular choice.
Okay.
They do charge a transaction fee. It's 2.2% plus 30 cents per donation. But they offer a lot more, features and customization.
Okay, so it's a little bit more advanced, but with more flexibility.
You'd say.
What other options are out there?
If you want a full-featured platform but without a platform fee, GiveButter is a great option.
Oh.
And they offer a whole suite of tools for online donations, even event ticketing and fundraising campaigns.
So it's kind of like all in one?
Yeah, a lot packed into one.
That's awesome. And then what about, if you want to tap into the power of, all those people who love you and support you and want to fundraise for you?
Yes, that's where she recommends GoFundMe charity.
Okay.
And they make it so easy for people to create their own fundraising pages
Yeah.
and, spread the word about your cause to their networks.
So it's like an army of fundraisers.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got the simple donations, the website integrated ones, the all-in-one platform, and then the peer-to-peer.
Yeah.
Got it? And now what about managing volunteers? Because I feel like where does technology even fit into that?
It does. So she says, for organizations with under 25 volunteers, stick with the basics. Google Sheets, Google Forms.
Okay.
So you can use Sheets to keep track of, volunteer contact info, their availability, their skills. And then Forms is great for creating those simple sign-up sheets, for events or tasks.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, exactly. But then, as your volunteer program grows, once you hit that 25 to 100 volunteers, she suggests looking into either Sign Up Genius or Volunteer Local.
Okay.
And these platforms offer more robust features for, scheduling, communication, tracking volunteer hours.
Got it. Makes sense. And then I'm assuming there's even more advanced options for those really big programs.
Yes, for organizations with over 100 volunteers, she recommends either Better Impact or GivePulse.
Okay.
And these are comprehensive volunteer management systems that can handle those large-scale programs. They offer features like volunteer recruitment. You can do background checks, training management, impact reporting.
It's like everything you need.
It is to run a thriving volunteer program.
Wow. Okay, so we've got managing volunteers, we've got online donations, remote teams, donor databases, virtual events. Feels like we've almost built a whole nonprofit tech ecosystem.
I know, right?
But I know there's one more area that we need to address, which is grant writing.
Yes.
Because that can feel so daunting, especially with all the research and the writing and the reporting.
Oh, absolutely.
Is there any tech magic that can help us there?
There is, and she gives some great tips. So she recommends starting your research with Foundation Directory Online.
Okay.
And it's a comprehensive database of grant makers, so it makes it so much easier to find potential funders that align with your mission.
Saves you so much time.
It does, because there are so many out there.
Yeah, that's what always amazes me, like how many different foundations and grant opportunities are out there.
Absolutely.
But what about the actual writing process?
Yeah, for that, she suggests good old Google Docs,
Yeah.
but with a twist. Use the version control feature so multiple team members can collaborate on the same document, track changes, make sure everybody's working on the latest draft.
So you don't have to email a million different versions back and forth?
Exactly.
Makes sense. But then how do you keep track of, like, all the deadlines and the reporting requirements? Because I'm always worried about, like, missing something important.
I know, and she recommends either Instrumental or GrantHub for that.
Okay.
And these platforms are specifically designed to help you manage that entire grant lifecycle. So from the research and writing to submitting it, tracking it, reporting, all of that.
That's a grant writer's dream.
It is. And then for managing those reporting deadlines, she also suggests Asana. It's great for keeping track of due dates, making sure you submit everything on time.
We love Asana.
And then for storing all of your grant-related documents, so, proposals, budgets, reports, all that, Google Drive is super reliable and accessible.
This is so helpful. I feel like we've literally covered, like, almost every aspect of nonprofit work.
We've gone from telling stories to managing volunteers to securing grants.
It's amazing how much technology can help us.
I know, and the best part is a lot of these tools offer free plans or significant nonprofit discounts.
Oh, that's even better.
So it makes them really accessible.
Awesome. So with all these tools at our disposal now, what's next?
I think now it's time to really, we've laid the groundwork, we've talked about the tools, but now it's time to go back to the art of storytelling itself.
Okay, yeah.
And dive into, what makes a story really resonate and how to craft narratives that inspire action.
I love it. Let's do it. All right, so we've talked about all the tools,
Yeah.
but now let's get to the heart of it, like the stories themselves.
Yes.
How do we make sure our stories actually connect with people and, like, make them want to get involved, take action?
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting because, Clara points out that it's not just about what you do, but why you do it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so start by tapping into that deeper purpose behind your mission. Like, what's that driving force? What impact are you trying to create in the world?
So it's like finding the soul of your organization.
Yes.
And then you let that kind of shine through in your stories.
Absolutely. And then it's also, knowing your audience.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, so who are you trying to reach? What are their values? What are their concerns? What keeps them up at night?
Yeah.
And it's about meeting them where they are.
So it's not just talking at them, it's like having a conversation.
Exactly. And to do that, she encourages us to get personal.
Okay.
Stories are most powerful when they're grounded in real human experience. So share stories about the people you serve, the volunteers, the donors, let people see the faces behind your work, hear the voices.
Yeah, put a face to the name, basically.
Exactly.
But sometimes I worry about, like getting too personal, overstepping boundaries.
Yeah, she's really careful to emphasize that, dignity and privacy, those are paramount. So always get permission before you share someone's story and let them review it.
Makes sense.
And if it's appropriate, offer anonymity.
Right.
So it's about empowering, not exploiting.
Exactly. Yeah, it's about respect, right? Respecting the people behind these stories.
Absolutely. And then visuals play a big role too.
Oh, of course.
A powerful image or video, that can just convey so much emotion.
Totally.
And she reminds us to choose visuals that, bring your stories to life and tailor them to the platform you're using.
Makes sense.
A stunning photo might be perfect for Instagram, while a short, impactful video might work better on Facebook or Twitter.
Right. Different strokes.
Exactly.
So we've got the why, we've got the who, we're getting personal, we're using visuals. What about the actual structure of the story itself? Any tips there?
Yeah, she suggests thinking of your stories as like mini journeys. So you start by setting the scene, introduce the characters, the challenge they're facing, then you build that tension, that anticipation as you guide the audience through the story. And then you reach that climax, right, where the challenge is overcome.
Ooh, the climax. I like it.
Yeah, and then you leave the audience with that sense of, resolution, inspiration. What did they learn? How were they impacted? And most importantly, what action can they take?
Oh, the call to action. That's huge, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, at the end of your story, tell people exactly what you want them to do. Do you want them to donate? Volunteer. Share your story. Learn more. Just make it clear and easy and compelling.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. Ask.
So we've talked about finding the heart of the story, structuring it, having that call to action. But how do we know if any of this is working? Like, are people even listening?
Right, and that's where those metrics we talked about earlier come in. Those email open rates, the social media engagement, website traffic, donations.
So those are good indicators.
They are, but she also emphasizes, looking beyond the numbers and really listening to what people are saying.
So pay attention to the comments, to the messages, the way people are responding.
Exactly. Are they sharing your stories? Are they reaching out with questions,
Right.
feedback? I mean, these are all valuable insights.
Oh, that's so true. That's so true. Wow, this has been such an eye-opening deep dive.
I know, I've learned so much.
Me too. We've learned so much from Clara about storytelling and how to use it to make a real difference.
Yeah.
What are your final takeaways?
What really stands out to me is that storytelling is more than just a marketing tactic. It's a way of connecting with people on a deeper level.
It's human.
It is. It's about building empathy and understanding and inspiring action.
Love it. So, to our amazing listeners out there, we encourage you to embrace the power of storytelling, unleash the stories waiting to be told within your organization.
Yes.
Use the tools, the strategies we talked about to craft those compelling narratives, the ones that move hearts, change minds, inspire action.
And never underestimate the power of a single story to make a difference.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible deep dive. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to all those resources that we mentioned. We'll see you next time for another adventure in knowledge and exploration.